May 2022. I finally make it to Colombia. I have been wanting to go to Colombia since I was an undergraduate in my Florida State days back in the mid-90s. Well, I was finally getting to go. Now originally, I wanted to go to Colombia only for the birds. But on this trip, the prime directive, just a Steve Poe trip, is finding Anoles. On our second half of our trip, we went to this small place called San Cipriano. It was a bit of an adventure getting there.
Oh yeah, crossing the river. Yikes! It's a long ways down. Oh yeah. Almost across.
Now, I have to admit, this is actually the trip back because on the trip there, it was raining so hard that I had to put away my camera gear. Yeah, did I mention it was pouring down rain? So we get to this station, we cross the river, and we get on this thing called a brujita. And a brujita is basically a platform with some seats on it, powered by a guy on a motorcycle. They remove one of the wheels, put the rear wheel on the train track, and you go about 20-30 minute drive through the jungle to get to San Cipriano. Now I remember driving, sitting next to my buddy Steve in the pouring down rain on this brujita, going through the jungles, these lowland jungles of Colombia, and I was just grinning from ear to ear. This was just such a life experience. So we land in this small town of San Cipriano, and of course it had been raining, and that floods the rivers. And we had to cross that river to get to where we were staying to go herping that night. And I'm sitting here going, wait a second, we got to cross that river? How are we going to get across it? Tiny little boats. So we had to wait around 3 or 4 hours for the water levels to recede, and we got on these small dugout boats, and they literally pushed us across. They pulled us. The guy's not paddling. A once-in-a-lifetime experience. So once we got there, I of course take out all of my camera gear and everything and make sure it's okay. And then I have cell phone service. So I connect my camera to my cell phone and I can upload all the photos as I take them through iNaturalist, which is pretty cool. And if you have noticed, I tend to take photos of just about every animal I see. However, this being a Steve Poe trip, he is the world expert at catching anoles and has caught more anole species than anybody else in the world. And of course, I'm trying to be the #1 photographer, thanks to Steve, helping me find all of these anoles. But for me, I always really enjoy just doing this wandering in the dark, just wandering around, taking photos of all the animals I see. And it's so different in the night than what you see during the day. Even the sounds are, as you can probably imagine, just so different. The frogs in the background are what I recorded that night. So all of the photos are from that first night. So all of the photos are from that first night. And this is where we stayed. And that's the dugout canoe we were in. And we're going back across for the second night. And we were there for a total of 3 nights. We herped on one side of the river, and then the other 2 nights we hiked and we herped in San Cipriano. Now, one of the most interesting paradoxes of herping and taking photos in the tropics is that you always hear how diverse the tropics are. The diversity is off the hook. Yet, in this lowland area, I would sometimes go, 15, 20 minutes in between photographs because you just don't see an insect on every branch. You don't see a lizard on every branch. In fact, I have gone hours without finding a single sleeping anole in the tropics. Very different from the Caribbean. But overall, this trip was really successful. I got new anoles. I got the scaly back anole called Anoles notifolis. I got Anoles chloris, which is the Bollinger's green anole. I got the Papayan giant anole, Anoles latifrons, Anoles lyra, Anoles maculaventris,